How do you explain why you left your last job when you're in an interview? Joining me now with the answer to that is Executive Officer for Manpower San Diego, Phil Blair. Good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
That can be a touchy subject sometimes.
Oh, very much so. And that's why it's important to talk about it and to decide what we are both going to say.
Right. So even long before you get to that interview, perhaps, you want to discuss with your current company why you're leaving and be on the same page here, right?
When you're starting to think about leaving a company,
right,
or they're starting to, you're getting inclinations, you may not
yes,
be, may not be thinking long term here, right? Don't order the company turkey quite yet. I want you to have a conversation with HR and leave as friends, or the department manager or the business owner, whoever I, as your potential next employer, will call for a reference check. The important thing is if you tell me you left because there was no upward mobility, let's say, and I go, well, that's a good reason to leave. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you know what? When I called HR, they said something entirely differently.
Right.
So it's like lying on your resume. What's the story here, right? You've misled me, and now I don't trust anything you've said. Even if it's negative, get it out, right? But say the same thing.
All right, even if it's negative, get it out, but be careful. You don't want to be doing any bashing about your former employer to your new employer because they don't take that kindly.
The bashing is more about you, right?
Right.
So let's say you go to HR, you go to the building owner and say, this isn't working for us, hopefully before you let me go, right?
Yeah.
And you start searching for my replacement, I'll start searching, and whoever wins, yay. So the job is covered until you need somebody. But then when I'm interviewing for the next job, I want what I tell you the reason, because why are you leaving the job you're at, or why did you leave it if you're unemployed now? What I answer to you as my potential employer is what I want you to hear when they call my old employer. So it can be, we didn't have the right move or the right place in management for him at this time. He worked very hard, but it wasn't a really natural fit in our upward progression. Okay, well that says a lot, but it doesn't say anything. But now we said the same thing at least, so it wasn't a negative.
So you want to be on good terms with your HR person when you leave, because that can be critical to the next job.
You do. If you have a temper tantrum, you leave and say, I can't tell you, this is the worst place in the world I've ever worked.
Walk out and don't give them
walk out with no notice.
Right.
Boy, when a reference check comes in, and HR people are very careful because of what they can say and not say. But I tell you, tone means a whole lot. Yes, he worked here.
Right.
Well, tell me about, was he a good employee? Well, I'd rather not talk about that. You're dead meat.
In your estimation, how often do they do that check? Your new employer calling your old employer?
Constantly.
All the time,
mean,
huh?
It's silly for an employer not to do reference checks. And that's why I always think it's so funny when it says, first of all, never put references on your resume, right? Don't put references available on request. Of course they're available on request. But when you're serious in the process, they're going to ask you for references. That doesn't mean those are the three they're going to call.
They can call anybody they want.
They want to. And hopefully your past employer is on there, because that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
And you've had this conversation. But they're going to look and, oh, you worked here? Let me call HR. In fact, I know somebody's a friend of his. Let me get the skinny on this.
You better be on
so
the
the
ball
consistency
there.
is very, very important, and it makes sense. And it also says, hey, you're a logical, level-headed employee. You looked ahead. You planned on this. Nobody's lying. We're agreeing on why we left, and we're moving forward together.
All right. Phil Blair, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
San Diego